DTM is dead. Okay, that's a bit harsh. It's not dead, just a small sinking shadow of its glorious past. Its identity is often questioned with the recent introduction of GT3s, its legitimacy spat on through different scandals, and yet, despite its vicious cycle of birth, death, rebrand, repeat, it has managed to produce incredibly exciting racing for decades, and this, in my humble opinion, was its most recent peak. 2002 saw DTM right in the midst of another rebranding era. Gone were the days of high-tech F1 cars with tin tops or Super Touring Championships with controversial season finales. This was the era of modern touring cars, beautiful, breathtaking wagons built to race and thrill thousands of spectators. BMW, Mercedes, and Opel had conceptualized the future of national touring car festivities, if only for the Munich outfit to not compete until 2012. This, remember, is when BMW took another plunge into Grand Prix racing. Instead, 3 other German manufacturers had agreed to join the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters in 2000, with Mercedes taking the charge. Opel never truly succeeded in providing proper competition, yet they were the only other manufacturer properly involved at the start. See, these apt chaps right here representing Audi weren't technically a works outfit. They were racing a modified TT car, barely usable in terms of dimensions for the new DTM regulations, and despite a rocky beginning dominated by Bernd Schneider and Mercedes 2 years in a row, season number 3 would see some welcome change. First up, Jean Alesi joined the fold. Everybody's favorite Frenchman had left Formula 1 at the end of 2001 and signed with Mercedes to end up 5th in the championship, winning 2 races at Donington, at the very least. Well-known superstars from the world of touring car racing would fight it out with past F1 legends such as Alesi, Peter Dumbreck, or Karl Wendlinger, as well as young hotshoes like, say, this guy, Marcel Fessler, or Christian Albers. After 4-week ends, it looked as though there'd been another runaway champion, even if he wasn't a silver-arrowed stormtrooper. Enter Laurent Aiello, arguably the greatest French driver to never race in Grand Prix motorsport, other than these 2 perhaps. His accolades at the time ranged from winning Le Mans, the BTCC, or the STW to French Formula 3. According to Andrew Van der Burr, F1 truly missed out on a brilliant talent who'd instead decided to try his luck in the world of sports cars and touring cars. And in the summer of 2002, Laurent Aiello was at the top of his game. 5 wins, 2 pole positions, and a comfortable championship lead. What more can you ask for? Well, the championship crown, of course. Schneider, on the other hand, was still to win his first race of the season. Bear in mind, this man had not only been dominating DTM for 2 years, he was Germany's Mr. Tin Top as well, racing in FIA GT, Le Mans, and older iterations of the DTM or ITC. Toppling the stoic master and former karting world champion himself would surely be impossible, right? Enter the beloved Norisring for round 5 of DTM 2002. If Schneider was to catch up to Aiello and defend his crown, this was the time and track to do it. Neither of them would qualify on pole, and the sprint race setting the grid for Sunday's main event saw Matthias Ekström win for Audi. If it wasn't clear enough that the ringmasters had caught up to the stars and cars of Stuttgart, it was becoming the new norm, and they couldn't have picked a better circuit to demonstrate their their new might. Audi's headquarters aren't too far from Nuremberg, the city hosting the yearly Norisring Speed Week. The brand's touring car history is intertwined with the likes of Hans-Joachim Stuck, winning in front of thousands of Audi employees cheering in the grandstands. What a great comeback it would be to double up and win the main event, especially for the championship leader. As if that wasn't enough hype, it just so happened that the race was scheduled on June 30th, 2002, the day of the World Cup final between Germany and Brazil. So before all of the touring car hoopla, there was a mildly important game of footy to be watched. And as the sun was beaming down on the grid with tensions rising all around the Dutzendteich, the drama was only getting started. Off they went, and immediately Ekstrom made a mistake into the hairpin, with DTM veteran and Nordschleife expert Uwe Altzen taking the lead ahead of Schneider and Aiello. Though despite Altzen being an old hand with a bag full of tricks, Schneider wouldn't wait behind him for too long, overtaking him on lap 6. Seeing as Mr. Altzen was about to be called in for a start line infringement, it was time for a duel between Aiello and Schneider instead. Lap after lap, the Frenchman managed to get closer and closer and closer to the rear end of Schneider's shining silver Mercedes. He could have stayed back, seeing as the points gap between himself and Schneider up to this point had been rather respectable. Yet he chose to attack, and if we were to glance over at Ekstrom right there, I can see why he would initially. This would continue after the one mandatory tire stop though, Ekstrom seemingly incapable of being able to hold a candle to what Schneider and Aiello were about to embark on.
Also das ist die ganz große Auseinandersetzung in diesem 44-Runden-Rennen. Bei nahezu unmenschlichen Bedingungen, glühend heiß in den Autos drin.
Apt's number 1 was scratching and clawing to get past Schneider, but the veteran wouldn't yield even when Aiello had tried to get past him down at the hairpin. Neither of them would dare to touch the barrier despite pushing their respective cars to the absolute limit. Others had managed to ruin their races by crashing into the wall or into each other's machinery. Not these two gentlemen. Lap on lap, they were close, incredibly close, though never too close. As Burkhard Bechtel put it on German TV.
Einfach nur Weltklasse. Für mich die besten. Insgesamt waren es 15 Runden, die ich in den letzten Monaten und Jahren gesehen habe im Tourenwagen-Rennsport und die fairsten überhaupt. In jeder Ecke hätte einer den anderen durch eine Winzigkeit in einen Dreher drücken können. Und tschüss.
This duel had suddenly turned into a perfect storm. Audi versus Mercedes, kind of. New guard versus old dog. Championship leader versus record champion. They'd push each other around the circuit, bumper to bumper, lap after lap, without punting each other out of the way. No team radios, no behind-the-scenes camera crew, no balance of performance, no DRS, no bullshit. And trust me, touring car racing loves its bullshit. Two manufacturers fighting it out on a grand national stage, so close in performance you might mistake them for racing Mazda MX-5s. All of this around a circuit synonymous with the history of German touring car championships throughout the decades, our very own local Monaco, if you will. Aiello surely wouldn't risk anything. He's in the lead of the championship after all, the main man, and yep, you saw that right. Final lap, final corner, Aiello barges his way through, outwitting Mr. Tintop, Mr. DTM himself, to win the double for Audi and build his championship lead.
When you drive against a driver like Bernd, it's always a pleasure, you know, it was very fair. I try my best to be fair and to have a good show for the public without taking any risk. I think Bernd is also happy about this, and if we could have this sort of race every weekend could be perfect.
That was yellow. I braked very early because I thought I had won the race already. And he braked on the point where we braked all the time and he passed me. I think the race director have to take a decision over the win, but anyway, it was a good race.
Why do I consider this the greatest duel in modern DTM history? Is it because I'm a biased kid born in Nuremberg? Maybe, but more so I feel it's the combination of everything I mentioned. In my humble opinion, racing, as we know it, is a matter of context. These weren't two random rookies fighting it out for P13 in the middle of nowhere. They were the backbone of modern DTM, possibly neglected by Grand Prix Motorsport, forging their legacies in the world of tin tops and tight duels. It was DTM's knight in shining armor dueling with a quirky, often forgotten Le Mans winner who conquered everything he'd set out to conquer in rooftop racing. It seems as though there couldn't have been a better mix of elements. Laurent Aiello, the undesired all-rounder, went on to win the title, his only crown in DTM, with Schneider claiming another few in following seasons. Some other duels might have been more spectacular or provided more expletives both before and after the era of Masters, yet there's a good chance this single summer afternoon was the peak of modern German touring car racing, a perfect storm of circumstances from the brands involved: Vodafone, Hasseröder, PlayStation, Dunlop, broadcasting taken care of by our local equivalent to the BBC, to the stars aligned on the grid, the close racing separating the men from the boys, the enthusiasm amongst the fans, the frenzy surrounding the paddock, and despite all the hoopla, the hype, and the celebrities, it didn't distract from the racing. The atmosphere was both built on the action and supporting it at the same time. Think of how Monza, with its grandstands filled to the brim, feels more lively and important than a vast landscape of empty seats. I suppose we couldn't have kept this up forever. Sure, DTM was going from strength to strength. Formula 1 hadn't provided the racing people wanted, while the BTCC was going through some troubling turmoil. In years to come, the Masters would attract more F1 stars in the vein of Frentzen, Schumacher, or even Häkkinen. But with Opel pulling the plug in 2005, the first signs of dark clouds had risen above the series. Old patterns of cost explosion were inbound, grids were lined with more or less competent race drivers, and the mainstream appeal DTM had once garnered was about to vanish. Recreating moments like Schneider versus Aiello seems impossible. They're quite literally a moment in time. If anything, it goes to show that it's not just the racing, no matter how much modern DTM tries to promote itself on said basis. Yes, it's the backbone necessary to stick in mind, but where modern DTM fights might be lost in the vast ocean of motorsport social media, this right here managed to swim, to stick with people for decades. It was the mixture of everything, at least in my mind. No other European championship had provided this potpourri of racing, fanfare, and stories in 2002, not on such a high level. And no, I'm not going to tell you that I know the answers to how DTM can revive its previous glory. It's why you'll find countless videos complaining about the aforementioned death of DTM. It's why their current GT3 predicament is so difficult to work with. The racing environment overflown with GT3 series left, right, and center, creating something as layered, as outstanding as older iterations of DTM seems unthinkable in the age we find ourselves in. It might not be fair to compare this to, say, the opening round of DTM 2025, but it doesn't make the contrast in how important it used to feel any less startling. If anything, it makes the upcoming challenges for the ADAC more daunting. But who knows, maybe one day the Masters will be able to rekindle this passion, finding their way, their identity, their spot to shine, their own stories to tell, their new peak of German touring car competition. Emphasis on touring car competition. Just saying. If you find yourself wanting to do a deep dive on DTM history, I can highly recommend checking out the Races of Our Lives podcast, especially their episode on the 2002 Norisring race, or checking out JM69's video essays on YouTube talking about old DTM and the German Super Touring Car Championship. And, as always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and keep racing.